Okay, good evening. This is Debbie Davis. It is January 28th, and obviously a lot has been going on in the news and since I did my last video. So I wanted to explain, first of all, I wanted to touch on my last video because I wanted to explain how I was showing the bloodline of my friend Jamie Nelson Burke, which blew all of our minds about how that she was from the bloodline of Christ and Mary Magdalene. So if you did not see that last video, that was quite profound what she got back from Ancestry.com. So then so we so I at the time I was like, I couldn't, I was like, I didn't know what to think of it because I thought that Christ was the atoning sacrifice and that there was not a bloodline. But what I have researched is that Mary Magdalene actually fled to France, and there's really not much that we know about her after that. Like, it's been a real secret about what happened to her when she fled to France. Okay, so I think a lot of this has been covered up. I think there's a lot of secrets that have been covered up for a long, long time, and that, is it possible that she was pregnant when she fled to France? I don't know. See, there's so much that we don't know. But, when we look at the Ancestry.com, it said right on Jamie Burke's bloodline that she was in the ancestry of Christ and Mary Magdalene. And so was I too. I was in that same bloodline. So, and then I found some pictures of Mary Magdalene with holding the Grail. Like, okay, is she the Grail? Is Mary Magdalene the Holy Grail? We always thought of it as just the cup, but what if there's more? What if the Grail was actually a bloodline? Okay, so I found these pictures where she's always holding the Grail. Okay, this is Mary Magdalene holding the Grail. Like she knew something. Like she knew something about the Grail. Okay, Mary Magdalene. She knows some secrets. She knows the secrets, and she was one of a lot of the other disciples were persecuted, and she fled to France and apparently had a church for a long time, and then everything about her was really hush-hushed. So I think there's a lot of secrets and things that we do not know about Mary Magdalene. So that's all I'm gonna say right now, because we don't know, what anymore right now about that. But and then God has been bringing me to some scriptures in Joshua. Okay, so there is a lot. There's obviously this war going on in Ukraine, right? So God has been bringing me to some scriptures in Joshua for some reason, and I was like, why are you bringing me to these scriptures, God? Okay, so he's bringing me to scriptures about the Amorites in Joshua. Okay, so in Joshua 10:12, the God of Israel is said, in the sight of Israel, sun stands still upon Gideon, and you, moon, in the valley of Aion. This is Joshua 10:12. Okay, so this is when Joshua defeated the giants out of there was a land where the giants were, and this is when Joshua defeated the giants out of that land. Okay, and I'm like, why are you bringing me to these scriptures? Okay, then I'm researching more about the Amorites, and I'm realizing that they were the ones that built the temple of Babylon. They were attempting, the Amorites were the ones that were attempting to build the temple of Babylon. They were totally in defiant against God. They were like, we'll just build a temple right to heaven. We don't need God, you know, and then God struck them down. Okay, those were the Babylonians, and they were also known as the Amorites. Okay, so God is bringing me to these scriptures. They were the ones that tried to construct a tower of Babylon to try to reach God. And this is talked about in the book of Deuteronomy. And they were described as the last remnants of the giants. Okay. So then I'm like, okay, what? So there's all this stuff going on in the Ukraine. Right? Okay, so what we're dealing with in the Ukraine that the fake news owned by the Khazarian Mafia is not telling you is that there's the remnants of the giants there. The remnants of the giants. Right here. Babylonian Khazarian Mafia. Okay? In Rothschild Zionists in the Ukraine. That's what we're dealing with there. We're dealing with the remnants of the giants in the Ukraine. Okay, so this is not about Putin, and this is not about Russia. This is about a certain place in Russia that has been a secret hiding place for the Khazarian Mafia. Okay, so this is what you are not hearing on the news. Okay, the Khazarian Mafia is secretly been hiding out. They are funding the deep state. Okay, now I personally have been in persecution ever since my last video, and I've had well, I mean, they attack me in several ways. It's the CIA deep state. Okay, they're attacking me. They like to come after my money in every way they can, and they have been attacking my mail. So I was just I went down to Minneapolis, downtown Minneapolis, and I've just been getting my mail at the main post office because I've been moving around so much that I didn't actually get a P.O. box. I just go and show my ID, and I've been getting my mail at the main post office, and it saves money on getting a P.O. box, and it hasn't been a problem. And so now, but like just a couple weeks ago, I got a new person that when I went to go get my mail, there's a whole sack, and she said, oh, this mail says Debbie, not Deborah, and I can't give you your mail, according to, because we don't want any kind of fake identity issues here, or something like that. And I said, well, some of the mail says Deborah, so can you give me that mail? And she had this attitude with me at the main post office in Minneapolis. It's 100 Main Street. And I was like, okay, you have to understand, the post office has been infiltrated by the CIA deep state. Okay, so, and I've had issues for years with the post office, years now, since 2013. I've had issues with mail tampering. Okay, this is a very serious issue for me. So, and once again, so then I had like a check and several different things, and she goes, well, I can't give you your mail because it says Debbie, not Deborah. And I said, well, ma'am, you know, I've been getting my mail here for 7 months now in Minneapolis, and it hasn't been a problem until now. Oh, well, I can't give you your mail. And then I came back a few days later with an ID that actually said Debbie, and she had actually sent back my mail to the sender just a few days later. So we're dealing with a lot of corruption with the post office, and we already know that the post office was involved with the fraud, the election fraud, because there was cameras in a lot of post offices where they were found burning ballots and things like that. So I'm just, you know, I've already had issues with the post office, that I'm exposing them more, because now, they actually purposely frauded me out of my mail. I had mail that I needed. I had a check in there. And she's like, "Oh, I can't give you mail because it says Debbie instead of Deborah." And it was like, I mean, these are to me, these are very serious issues because I've been moving around so much that I was relying on my mail coming there, and I didn't have a problem until recently, and now they're attacking me there, and that's the CIA deep state that's working through the post office. Okay, so the post office has been taken over by the CIA deep state. So this is a very serious issue going on. I mean, I don't know, most people probably won't have any problems, but if you're a whistleblower like myself, you will have problems. So anyway, who are the Khazarian Mafia? So who are the these people in the Ukraine? Okay, so the Babylonian Khazarian Mafia goes way back, and they are the Kabbalah of Babylon, and Babylon are the people who tried to build a temple to heaven, and then God struck them down. Okay, so they are apparently the descendants of the giants, and they are apparently still located in the Ukraine. Okay, so this is what the fake news is not telling you, is that there's more going on here than what you understand, than what you've been told. And so Rabbi Jeffrey Davis writes, virtually every form of Western mysticism and spiritualism known today draws upon Jewish myth and occult teachings, magic, prayer, alchemy, numerology, whatever. All have roots in Jewish occult, but the millennia, many of these core teachings have been available to the general public, concealed by barriers of language and by the protective principles governing the teaching of the Kabbalah, which is both nurtured and guarded such knowledge, censored from the general public, keeping us in the dark about mysticism and spiritualism, depending on Jewish myth and occult teaching. Okay, so, okay, so the Freemasonry started emerging in Scotland. Okay, it's part of Freemasonry, the Kabbalah. Okay, and Freemasonry has a bigger purpose to assassinate Christ. The deeper the adept penetrates, the more Tamalic are the mysteries revealed. Okay, so basically we're dealing with Antichrist spirit here in the Khazarian Mafia. There's really no other way to say it. But it's a lot deeper because it has to do with dark cult mysticism thing, and it goes way back. The higher degrees of Freemasonry depend on mystical masonry of the Jewish occult. It requires you must pledge to become an assassin of Christ and his representatives on earth with fire which purifies the earth. British Rothschilds run the Israeli regime. They think they are purifying the Middle East by wiping out Arabs and creating political chaos in the United States while sucking all wealth out of Americans. Apparently this is what they think. This is why, Okay, so here's the British Rothschild Khazarian Mafia. It has a lot to do with the Rothschilds, because the Rothschilds are the satanic bloodline for Satan. The Rothschilds are pure evil. The Rothschild Khazarian Mafia is pretty successful so far in many nations. They have overthrown 30 plus overthrows and the mass murder of 25 million non-Khazars since World War II. Obama's 7 wars was a big step for the mafia. Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Somalia, Yemen, Ukraine, and Pakistan. Mass murders of 250,000 plus Syrians using depleted uranium and WMDs on children and causing a mass migration to Europe from Libya and Syria to eventually divide and conquer Europe for the Khazarian Mafia. The Babylonian Talmudic cabal rules financially the world by creating the lend fiat fake money at pernicious usury interest to buy up any politician, media asset, military leaders, bureaucrats, lobbyists, think tanks, university professors, okay, blackmail, threats, kind of like the Epstein thing. Okay, that's the Khazarian Mafia there as well. Okay, so this is what we're dealing with. This is really what's going on in the war in Ukraine right now. It has nothing to do with Putin and Russia. What they're going after is the Khazarian Mafia. Putin is not part of the Khazarian Mafia. I remember when I used to see footage of Putin and Obama where Putin was just like making fun of Obama, like he was not a part of that whole evil agenda. So you have to understand there's two separate things going on in Russia. There's the Khazarian Mafia, who's been around for thousands of years, that they're attempting to wipe out, and the U.S. I believe is working with Russia, involved in trying to take this evil empire out. That's been apparently the one that is funding the deep state. Okay, so this is an important video that I want to do tonight, which explains what's going on in Ukraine right now, and I think there's a lot more that we have not been told about the bloodlines and different things. So hopefully we can explore more about that later, but I want to do this video update today. Okay, thank you.